And welcome to the land of Boz. My name, as the introduction said, is Jeff Bosley. And we're short on time today, so we only got about 5 to 7 minutes with our guest. And our guest today is a guy named Jeff Bosley. Jeff, welcome to the show. Good to be here, Jeff. I really appreciate it. I'm a huge fan of the show, and I'm glad you were able to squeeze you in on the short amount of time we have. No, it's awesome. I appreciate it. And for those of you who don't know who Jeff is, let's just get a little bit about your history, kind of where you're from, what you do, what your job is, and just a little bit of your as seen on TV Hollywood bio. The short version is my name is Jeff Bosley. I'd like to consider myself an actor. I put some food on the table doing that. And every time I think of this story, when people ask me, I was actually dating a girl one time in post-military, and she thought I was basically lying to her because I know how nonsensical all of this is. But here's the nonsensical actual truth of my life. Born and raised in Idaho. My father's an emergency room physician. I was fortunate to have a stay-at-home mom. I did some high school theater, and then because I was raised around a doctor, I chose to, he didn't make me, he wasn't like that backhanded dad that says, you're going to be what I do, but he definitely infused academia, so going to college for theater was not on the radar by any stretch of the imagination. And after that, I did go to college. I beat that horse to death. I didn't party or do anything cool or fun. I literally watched a lot of Spider-Man cartoons and slept in. So I'm really glad I got that private college tuition bill. After 4.5 years, I changed my mind, dropped out, worked at a truck company for a year, realized the real world sucks, went back to Idaho for in-state tuition, and at that point, the first college, I call it College 1.0, that was pre-med, so that was a big waste of money. College 2.0 in Idaho, I went to sports medicine, and probably about a semester into that, I decided to go into theater, and then at that point, I just beat the theater horse to death at College 2.0, and then towards the end, I knew I wanted to enlist in the military. The theater and military go hand in hand. And at that point, I just started taking acting and directing classes over and over and over again because I knew I wasn't going to finish. So I put off all the academic classes, the theater history and all that. Joined the Army, became an Army Special Forces Green Beret, which is what brought me to your show, and beat that horse to death. And that horse actually kicked back on that one. The reason I'm not in the Army anymore is I jumped out of a helicopter to chase a bad guy. Wait, you jumped? You jumped out of a helicopter? Yeah, I mean, I don't want to sound cooler than it is because there's a lot of guys from my world that are ego a-holes, but we were low enough that it was actually part of the plan we called them squirters. When a bad guy would squirt out the back door, my team would go in the door, do all the stuff you see on TVs, and if somebody decided to squirt out the back door, we were called squirter cleanup. And so we jumped out of the helicopter, me and my buddy, and we jumped out onto each side. And his side of the helicopter's only maybe 8-9 feet wide. His side was like the softest dirt in Iraq. Like he just hit and sunk, and he was climbing out and just kind of dusted himself off. My side of the helicopter, just an 8.5 foot difference. I landed on dirt that hadn't seen hydration probably since Jesus was born. So it was just like pure pavement. Broke my back. We still caught the squirter. I'm lucky I'm not paralyzed. Fast forward, got out of the Army because of that. Had spine surgery, and at that point, I was actually just telling a professor of mine today at College 3.0 that I actually had my spine surgery in Los Angeles, and that's where that bug started going of chasing the childhood dream. You should do it before you die because you almost died. And after spine surgery, my poor mom was actually driving me around to auditions in LA. I was high as a kite on hydrocodone and just doing all this is back in the day where Craigslist was where you went for auditions. So I was doing all the newbie stuff, getting all my experience while I was still getting a government paycheck for being a Green Beret. So I just loved that little dichotomy there. Did that for a while, went back home, finished out the military career, said, I got to be practical still because that's normal. And then after that, I was a firefighter. So wait a minute, after being a Green Beret, you were a firefighter. Yeah, it sucked. I was the old guy in the department, and I was also the guy that had a broken spine, and fires aren't typically where you can stand up straight. So that was a rough 2 years. I had a divorce, just like a country song. She took the dogs, the truck, and I had a really good friend that said, you know, you need to chase the Hollywood dream, and you have no reason not to. And at that point, I kind of just dismissed all OCD, quirky, like control freak stuff, and did the opposite of anything that I could ever fathomed in the past, which was sell everything I owned, packed up my car, and moved to California. And that's kind of what brings me to you, is I did that for about 9.5 years. I put enough food on the table to not do that. I vowed to not go there and be like a bartender or a personal trainer. Like, I vowed I was only going to get money acting. And it was awesome, but also hell on earth. Like, there were literally weeks where I was like, my dog Izzy, I was like, is she going to eat this week or am I going to eat this week? And after that, I got enough of a quote-unquote career that I was allowed to move out of that hellscape called Los Angeles. Moved to Atlanta for a while, got a little stunt work there, met future wife 2.0, and she has a career in Omaha, Nebraska. I followed her there, kept my agents and managers in Los Angeles. And I'm now at college 3.0, finishing out that theater degree that I've went through 3 colleges trying to get, and I transferred with like 190 credits, something like that. God bless my poor advisor that had to transfer all those. And that's what brings me here. And that's kind of that's the short of it, as much as I wasn't keeping that short. Well, we're running out of time, but so what are you up to now? Like, you know, tell us, like, what's your present day like? Well, basically, I'm the oldest guy in the department. I also showed up, got cancer, disappeared to have cancer surgery, came back, and I'm still the oldest guy in the department. And just finishing out the degree, and actually somebody called me Mr. They didn't actually know my name; they just said Sir, like they thought I was a professor. And it's kind of how I spend my days. I'm working on a play there and helping with a class. I check on our dogs between classes, and that's about it. And then I still audition with jobs in LA and in Atlanta with my representation there, and that's the short version. I'm sorry, I know that was not enough time. Yeah, we are out of time. That's cool. But everybody, that was Jeff Bosley. As you know, you can find him on all social media. He's luckily grabbed all of the. I stalked him a little bit, and he has all of the handles of the Jeff Bosley. Why is that? Well, I saw Hugh Jackman did it, and he writes the Hugh Jackman. I was like, well, I'm going to be the Jeff Bosley. And I know I sound like a pompous asshole, but I did. So luckily I have that across the board, and you're right, that's how you can find me. All right, well, everybody, let's say thanks to Jeff. We might have time for one quick question from the group. Some phone-in calls. We'll do one quick question and wrap it up. So does anybody that has any questions for our guest? Yes?
Hi, Jeff. This is McKenna from Omaha, Nebraska.
Hi, McKenna from Omaha. Ooh, the wedding. Yeah, what is it? Well, you're like in your 50s and haven't done that yet? No, cancer. Awesome. Thanks for the call, McKenna from Omaha. Jeff, appreciate it. Wishing you the best. And everybody, thank you for tuning in and listening. This has been the Land of Boz. Take care.